Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs. Hello and welcome to episode 107, the Misconceptions of the Psychic Mediumship Industry. In this episode, Tony and I talk all about the elephant in the room, the topic of money and psychic mediumship. That's a common one, and I'm excited for you to hear this episode because if you are a psychic medium, it's important for you to listen up. And also, I mentioned my psychic mediumship business webinar. It's a free webinar. You can go to lindsaymarino.com and click on upcoming events, and you will see that webinar. You can get it as the replay. And then also, of course, my paid business program is out and ready for you to join. Join over 80 people that are psychic mediums and healers around the world and be a part of our community and start getting the blueprint for the business. Whether you've been in it for 30 years or you're just starting out, this is a program specifically for psychic mediums. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Hi guys, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. Today's episode is all about the common misconceptions in the psychic mediumship industry. And this is a big topic that Tony and I talk about a lot, and I feel like it's needed.
This is a huge topic, and just to be clear here, I'm not a working psychic medium professionally. I am a psychic medium, but I am a professionally working intuitive coach, and I've worked with dozens of psychic mediums, professional psychic mediums, over the last 3 years, one-on-one, in small, large group masterminds. And what I've realized over the last 3 years alone is two common beliefs, I would call them negative beliefs, that are holding people back from the next level, that are holding psychic mediums back from the next level. Money beliefs and caring what other people think about them.
Mm-hmm. It's a big one. I know at the very beginning, Tony was my coach. Living together, you hear everything that goes on in someone's mind, it comes out. And one of the things for me was I was so concerned about what other people thought. And when I first started out, I remember thinking, well, I'm practicing doing this work, and I know what I believe on what I've experienced. But you also have those moments where fear comes up and you start thinking, am I good enough? Am I going to be valuable enough to put myself out there? I was afraid to consider myself an expert. And I remember first signing up for a Facebook public page, like a public figure page. That's the title of it. And I heard from so many people through others, who does she think she is being a public figure? Where did this come from? And I was doing all the inner work, taking the classes, finally put myself out there, and I was getting so much resistance, and it almost caused me to go back in my shell, which I think I did a little bit. You probably saw at different points, and had a lot of internal struggle with that. And it was more focused on what other people were thinking, and it confused me about what I knew in my heart and my soul.
Right, and that was before the point where you even started charging.
Right.
Like
I was sharing quotes at the beginning.
Right,
online.
So then once you started to charge, then it was like a whole new world of like criticism, and you're not supposed to charge for this gift.
Yes.
And you're not supposed to charge that much for this gift because it's a God-given gift, as if other gifts are not God-given. And
exactly.
All these different things. And I've noticed, just having my pulse on the industry, just living with you, being with you, working with psychic mediums, I just noticed that even a lot of the leaders that are psychic mediums in the industry, training other psychic mediums, they actually have money beliefs. And it's just evident in the energy that they're putting out. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of the problem in this industry is the focus is on developing the psychic medium skills, and it's almost like people are scared to talk about the business side of being a psychic medium.
Right, everything is encompassed with
right.
as a whole. I think that's true. And I've worked with a lot of different mentors, and they're amazing. And then there's other people, I understand what you're saying, because there's other people out there that aren't necessarily, I don't know how to word it, but you could feel from the actions and the speaking about charging that there's a mix of people.
Right.
And I think it's important, one, to value, whether you're listening to this and you're a psychic medium or not, everyone has some sort of gift. And like the term gift that's been thrown around a lot, ability, gift, same thing. Everyone has something, but it's important for us to value that. And money is just a form of currency to put a price tag on it. And I'm putting this in quotes, like a price tag. That's the best way to, when you're purchasing something, an iPhone or a flip phone, there's some sort of value on it, okay? It could be an attachment because of the way that you love it. It could also be in the form of an energy exchange. I'm going to pay you this, you're going to give me that. And that's how we have to think about psychic medium readings or teaching. This is valuable. Our time and energy is valuable. And the big thing that I notice, and I know you've recognized this with your clients too, is we are outputting a lot of energy. Just like when I was teaching third grade. You know how they say they don't pay teachers enough? Mm-hmm. I loved what I was doing. I wasn't paying attention to that at the time. I really was kind of in my own little box. But what I recognize now is if we have the opportunity to say, this is what I'm deserving of, this is my time and energy, I want to make sure that I give the most value to my client. And in order to do that, I cannot take 20 clients in one day. Because there's some places where they're doing $1 an hour, $1 a minute for readings. You go to the shop, you go to a certain place, you pay $1 a minute for a reading. And if they had 20 clients in one day, do you think the quality of the reading would be the same? Probably not, compared to someone that's just doing 3 or 4 readings. Now, as a psychic medium, I know personally that I can only do a certain amount of readings in one day. Just like when you're doing intuitive coaching, don't you feel that energy? Like,
it takes so quality? Much. You're working with your mind, and for people that don't understand, when you're working with your mind, it's physically draining also. Just like if you're a laborer, like I used to do construction with my dad and other companies, I would be a laborer where I'm lifting up wood, I'm doing that. To me, teaching, when I was teaching in the schools and then now intuitive coaching, oh my Lord, sometimes I feel more physically drained from doing that, maybe having 2 or 3 calls in a day or a full, when I was teaching a full 6 to 7, 8 hours of teaching. Some days I felt more physically drained doing that. And once again, this isn't to put down anybody in this industry. Everybody's well-intended, and there's a lot of great people in this industry. This is more to call out the elephant in the room. Yeah. It's time to raise the psychic medium industry to a new standard, because here's what I realized. I realized there's so many high-quality psychic mediums out there that are struggling, that either are struggling week to week or month to month with their bills, or they're still working a job that they're not really pulled to do anymore, and they want to branch out, but the whole unconscious energy of the industry as a whole, the elephant in the room that we're calling out, is putting out, if you're going to do this work, you got to struggle, you got to ask for donations, and we're here in this episode to help raise the standards of this industry to where how lawyers, how doctors, how any professionals get paid. Because I've had mediumship readings, I've had psychic medium readings, and oh my God, to put a value on that, my life has been transformed from your readings, from some of your students' readings at the retreats. Like literally, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking about right now. My life has been transformed. I've went and paid acupuncturists a lot more money than just like 50 minutes of work than most psychic mediums charge. Or, going to get therapy, or going to get coaching, or going to the doctor visit, and there's this value that we place on a lot of these other things. And for some reason, when it comes to the psychic medium industry and really a lot of other spiritual type industries, it's like we come from the space of like, don't talk about money. Right. Don't talk about the business. Don't invest in marketing. Don't invest in figuring out how to get your message out there. And we're here to say, look, it's time for a change.
It is. And I'm thinking of an email that I got, and I'm sharing this with all of you. Maybe he sees this video, maybe not. I'm not sure. But I wasn't attached to it because I understand. There's been another guy actually that emailed me before and said this, but somehow he was given a gift certificate. Someone bought him a gift certificate for a reading with me. And I guess he was on my newsletter. He signed up for my newsletter. And I put out there that I was doing my group readings, my group online mediumship readings. And he messaged and said, you know, how dare you take advantage of the fellow man? People make $10 an hour and you're taking advantage. And I didn't respond. He took himself off the newsletter, which is totally fine. The point of me sharing this is nobody's twisting anyone's arm. If you feel drawn to get a reading, you're going to get a reading. And I'm so grateful for my clients because they value what I do. They send customers to me, and it's a natural. The people that come to me are people that truly value this work, and I am so grateful for that. And my students that come to me, there's certain people that are going to be aligned with you. They're going to value that sense of, I know that you're giving me this and I want to give in return. So they're excited about paying. But the thing is I did a webinar the other day, which I told you about, and it was for psychic mediums. And we talked about business, the business webinar. And I asked the common belief that comes up with money and, you know, when it comes to psychic medium stuff. And a lot of them have the beliefs from the childhood that says you have to work hard for your money. You shouldn't be charging that much. Or what else? There was so much. Oh, money is greedy.
Not enough certifications.
That you have to have a degree. But that's a common
That's another
conversation.
thing I've heard before.
It is.
It's like you got to be certified by this person, or you got to like take 40,000 courses, or you got to like with these. It's like, no, if you are great at what you're doing,
right,
and you could get the result and you're just already at that level, which there's a lot of psychic mediums out there. Look, we're not naive here. We know there's other people that's in the industry that are scamming people, and we know that's going on, just like every other industry. We're not talking to those people. We're talking to the people that are heart-centered, that are powerful beings, that are great at psychic mediumship, and that have a lot of these negative beliefs that Lindsay was just talking about.
And one of the things that I had them do in the webinar, and if you guys want to catch the replay, it's still available, but I had them actually write down if they did take courses, because that's valuable. That adds value. That's time and energy. That's investment in yourself. Whether it was watching YouTube videos, reading books, doing practice readings, actually putting your energy out there and really practicing and getting feedback to know that, okay, this was accurate. There's a reason this is something that's coming up for information, because you can't just go out there and charge and not know what you're doing. That's like two different things.
Right.
But putting that down and really getting clear on the belief that you have with yourself. And I think that's important as psychic mediums. The thing that disappoints me is when I hear other psychic mediums talk to my presence and say, did you hear what they were charging for their readings? I stop them right there, because I'm like, that's their business of if they're going to charge what they value on themselves. And I'm sharing it in a podcast because if you want to take this, you can. If you want to leave it, you can. But one of the frustrations that I have is seeing these beautiful souls that have so much to offer. I see them do readings and they're working 2 other jobs and they can't do what their life's mission is, their vocation of doing this work, because they're struggling, and energetically they cannot give their clients the best reading if they're working a full day. They can't give as many people readings. So it's important to figure out what feels comfortable for you when you're doing your readings, how much energy you're giving out, and are you getting an even exchange, and not feeling guilty about that. Just like musicians, they absolutely love what they do. That's a gift or an ability to play and to sing. People pay them for concerts. That's okay. There needs to be a switch, and I think it really is more of the psychic mediumship industry than the people coming for the readings.
Right. It's the actual established, yes.
I feel like it's let's look at what everyone else is doing and let's put them down for putting themselves out there. Right. That's another thing. Haven't you seen that?
Because the odds are, the real thing is that just like any business you look into, you look at the numbers, most psychic mediums are struggling. They're living paycheck to paycheck or reading to reading.
As a whole.
And as a whole, the average, it's just like any other industry. If you look at the numbers, most business people are struggling because of money blocks. And we found in this specific industry, it's even more. It's like the leaders and a lot of the people in it and the whole system, like Lindsay said, the whole established culture of it is actually pulling people down too, which in other industries you don't see that as much. So like you think about the real estate industry. I don't get the sense, I've never been a real estate agent, but I don't get the sense that they shame people for making more money in the real estate industry, because it's more of like the culture is different there.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to create the culture to where it's different here in the psychic mediumship, to where we're not telling you, like Lindsay said, to go out and before you're ready, I'm going to charge $800 for a 50-minute reading. I'm going to go and do these courses on how to, have a how to develop your mediumship when you're just starting out. Do your due diligence, put your experience in, take your time, build up your craft. We're telling you that. Figure out where you are and be honest with it, but also know that there's no cap into how much you can earn as a psychic medium, because you have digital products you could sell. Like if that's part of your calling, to where you want to be a teacher and you want to mentor other psychic mediums like Lindsay does. You got digital products. You could write books about your story. Every psychic medium I've ever met and ever talked to, their story gives me goosebumps all over. If they put that in a book, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this right now. If they put their story in a book, oh my Lord, how valuable would that be for people?
It would help people.
Charge $10, $20, you have 1 million people buy it, all of a sudden you're making millions as a psychic medium. Did you scam people? No, you didn't scam them. You had something valuable.
Well, also, you're helping that.
You're helping them. It's the exact opposite of scamming.
This is the thing. When I first started, I hid behind a flower. I've shared this in tons of episodes, and my students know all of my stories. Mm-hmm. I hid behind a yellow flower on my Facebook page. I was afraid to be visible, because there was part of me that knew in my heart what was happening, but then the other side of me is like, am I good enough to put myself out here? So I had that fear. And I think when you have that fear of not being sure of yourself and your craft, and that mixed with the money beliefs that maybe other people think that you should charge, because at the beginning I was like, let me just accept donations. That was my thing. But what started to happen is my customers started to value, and it started to build up the belief in me. I started to get feedback and testimonials, and that's something. Now, another thing I want to say is there's some amazing mentors out there that are so powerful and create a positive culture. And that's the big thing. I think you need to look for leaders that are actually creating that culture of support and love.
Yes.
Because when I think of that, I think of Mavis Patilla.
For sure.
She is so loving and so supportive of her children, of her students.
She looks at them like her children.
And she's someone that really sticks out to me. She's not the only one, but she's one that sticks out for me, where she does things with her heart and integrity. And if you're doing things with heart and integrity, there's no need to feel any different and feel guilty when you're helping more people. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm talking to everyone else. I'm not talking about Mavis. I'm saying she is in love and integrity.
She is.
But if you think of yourself and what you're doing, that's important. Oh, and the other thing is I don't know how much time I have, Tony.
You still have time.
But there is, as a psychic medium, you can feel the people on the bleachers. So when you zone into tuning into the people on the bleachers, it stops you from putting yourself out there and being visible. So that's one thing that really crippled me, was I'd put myself out there and then I'd feel, and then I was like, oh my God, I feel like a bad person. I'm like, I'm not a bad person.
And the insight I got when you're saying that, the bleachers. So I played basketball. We're in a gym right now. You got people on the sidelines and the bleachers. What do all of those players have? They have a coach. They have assistant coaches. They have other support groups.
Right.
That's what you're going to need.
You are.
In any business you do. But especially, we're talking to you psychic mediums. You're listening to this. You're watching this. You need support along the way, because trust me, I saw Lindsay at the beginning stages of it, pulling her hair out, crying. Like I'd come home, because I was teaching at the time. Come home and I'm like, oh man, here we go again.
That's what he said.
But it's like, and I tried my best, and I think I was there for you most of the time in a positive way. And there's other times where it was like, it became a lot for me. But guess what happened? Guess what helped Lindsay? She started to reach out for support from other people, like Mavis. You brought up Mavis. Other support groups. You started to have a group of people that you would practice with on a weekly basis, where you guys would meet on Zoom and you would practice your mediumship skills. You took B school with Marie Forleo, to where she taught you the business side of it. You would travel to other cities. Like, I'd drop you off at the airport, and you're taking all this time and energy. You had to pack your suitcase. You had to pay money. You had to, your time and energy. You're going to get mentored. You're going to train. You got the support that you needed. So if you're a psychic medium, if you're any business owner and you're going out there, make sure you understand that there's going to be people on the sidelines, and 50% of them are going to love you. 50% of them are going to, whatever we want to call that, the negative side of it. And if you're an athlete, if you're a player, you're going to need the support system. You're going to need the coaches. You're going to need whatever you feel in your heart that you need. I feel in my heart, I need all of that. Plus, I like YouTube videos. I feel like I got virtual mentors. I like books. I like tuning into spirit. I go on long walks in the morning time. You got to figure out different ways that you are going to get that support as if you are an athlete.
That's so true. That's exactly what's needed. And I don't really think about it until after, like really reflecting on it, how I got through all those beginning times. And there's still times that come up. I just put it out a guided meditation the other day, remember? And I'm like, I'm scared. I'm like, wait, that came out of my mouth? And the guided meditation was about a guided meditation for psychic mediums, to instill in them that it's okay to get paid what you're worth. And it was a powerful meditation. I've gotten so many messages from people thanking me. But before I put it out, I was thinking, but my clients, I want them to know that I'm still the same person, even though, so it was almost like that was in the back of my mind. And Tony and I had a conversation, and he's like, your clients value you. You attract clients that actually value what you do. So they understand this side of things. I'm like, that's true.
And it wasn't almost like it was in the back of your mind. Like we were going on walks talking about it, and it was like reminding Lindsay, look, everybody that knows you, you're coming from love. You don't have to convince anybody of this. So it's just like, and most of you listening to this, I would say all of you, you're coming from love. You're coming from a place of service. It's time to value yourself and pull those beliefs. They're going to come. Like, obviously, Lindsay's been doing this for how many years? I don't know, 6, 5, or 7?
Well,
like professionally, full-time on your business. Or, since 2007, but then full-time on your business. Once you take the entrepreneurship journey, it's a whole new ballgame.
It is.
Because now you're putting yourself out there. And look, Lindsay still has these things that come up. And we go on walks. She still attends her support groups with like Mavis. Mavis will have different workshops in Boston and different places. You meet with people on Zoom. Like, you're still doing the things, because this isn't like a one-time thing. Oh, let me get the support this month and then I'm done. It's like, this is ongoing. Just like a professional athlete or anybody who's professional, they have coaches and they have a support system around them because of this type of thing. When you're living life on the edge, when you're someone who's creating a movement, and all of you psychic mediums, you got to realize you're creating a movement. Like, most people on this planet are not open to connecting with past loved ones. You're creating a movement, and you have to be okay with 50% of the people loving you, 50% of the people not believing in what you're doing, and everything else in between.
And I think thinking back to in the time of the witches, they were stoned when they were visible and sharing their gifts. And I almost feel like there's parts of us psychic mediums where we're afraid to be visible at times. And I think that's kind of in the background. So pay attention to that too. But this is exactly why I created my mediumship membership, because we have a safe group of heart-centered mediums that love each other, support each other, and I know that has had a huge effect on them. And me being a part and seeing everything that's going on and being able to go in there and show up for them too. So it's important with that. But the main thing is it's important to know your value. So if you're a psychic medium and you know your value, tell us below and really admit that and feel okay with knowing your value also.
Right. You're a worthy entrepreneur. You're worthy of abundance. You're worthy of making the impact that you want to make.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share with us. If you're a psychic medium, you've been watching our podcast and you've been quietly in the background watching and not saying anything, introduce yourself, share with us any kind of value that came from this video and any kind of aha moment that came up for you. Thank you guys. See you next time. Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.